In terms of guaranteed income, what's fascinating, much like employee ownership, it's not a new idea. People have been talking about guaranteed income in this country since the late 1700s. Like Thomas Paine wrote a whole book called The Agrarian Revolution, where he talked about sort of giving folks a sense of ownership and make sure everyone has at least a floor. And then you had Dr. King, the Black Panther Party, the National Welfare Organization led by Black women like Johnny Tillman. You had Richard Nixon, Milton Friedman. You had a real moment in the 60s and 70s where guaranteed income wasn't a wild concept. You had Donald Rumsfeld running guaranteed income pilots for the federal government. Donald Rumsfeld running guaranteed income pilots for the federal government. And but for a couple of votes on the House, this wouldn't be a novel idea. But the idea is that since we all participate in society, since we all create value in society, that everyone should have a small piece of the pie, just a floor. So the idea is to say, we before we even talk about having ceilings, let's just make sure everyone has a floor. And the floor is just what is baseline standard needed to survive, to thrive, to be fully human, particularly in a capitalist economy where you need money for basic human needs like food, like water, like shelter. Et cetera. So universal basic income posits that everyone should benefit from that since everyone has a stake in society. And guaranteed income says that, okay, we could get to universality, but if we don't do everyone, can at least do people who we know need it, can at least do people we know have the biggest impact for, can at least do people who we know that $500 or $1,000 is a huge difference maker. And what we found, which is probably no shocking to people in here, but was shocking to the Twitter and Facebook trolls who yelled at me in 2017, was that actually it didn't make people work less. In fact, people became more productive and worked more because it cost money to go to work. That my car has a flat tire, or I have a job like a nurse or a security guard, or I have to get my uniform dry cleaned, or if I have children, I have to pay for childcare. Sometimes I can't go to work because I don't have the startup capital necessary to invest in myself and go. What we also saw was or what we're also are seeing, because this has been done, there's 100 pilots happening right now in this country, 60 that my organization, Americans for Guaranteed Income, is helping evaluate. And what we've seen consistently is that it also has health impacts, that people are healthier. People are less stressed. People are able to rest more. And we're also seeing that for no matter what group, because now there's too many pilots, so you got guaranteed income for people with dogs and people without dogs. You have it for cats, and you have it for every slice it and dice it, but no matter who you are, what we're finding is that another $500 or $1,000 actually works. And I think for me, the exciting thing, but also the tragedy, is we're talking about a very small amount of money. We're talking about $6,000 a year or $12,000 a year. And that being the difference between buying diapers or not, or being able to pay for your rent or not, or being able to eat or not. I think it's quite criminal that we've created a society where so much avoidable human suffering is tolerable. It's a little bit annoying, we feel uncomfortable, but it's not absolutely not. And I think it's because oftentimes the folks who have the means and the access don't have the problem. So it doesn't rise to the top of we have to solve this issue. It's it'd be nice to solve, or solve it when I see a tent on my street or by my favorite coffee shop. But I think writ large as a society, and I share that because I think that same ideology even permeates the discussion around employee ownership. This idea that we all are valuable, that we all have worth, that we all are deserving of ownership, that we all are deserving of having something to pass on, that we all are deserving of the opportunity to be wealthy, to be comfortable, to not have to have our labor exploited. And what's interesting, much like guaranteed income, I think what's powerful about the work you all are engaged in is it's going against almost 400 years of a narrative of this country. Because the first peoples who were here had their land stolen from them. They didn't get any wealth from that, right? Black folks spent 400 years human trafficked, raped, sold, laboring, doing all the jobs for free for 400 years and saw no ownership. And when the country grew and blew up and became the biggest superpower in the world, got none of those gains. So I think the work of guaranteed income and the work of employee equity is about, again, seeing everyone and rewarding everyone for the work, not just the work that they do, because our values put in our work, but for everyone's inherent value and dignity and how everyone has to be part of a future that everyone stands to benefit if the future is better.
Yeah.